Welcome everybody, and in this lecture relating to deductions, we'll discuss section 80D, 80DD, 80DDB. Only three sections will complete. Let us keep this video short and then we'll solve some problems on this video in the next lecture. Okay, so what is section 80D? 80D talks about health insurance premium, or you can say mediclaim, or you can say medical insurance premium, right? Now, there are many companies in private sector, they give health insurance premium or mediclaim or medical insurance premium, right? Or you can take the scheme of central government health scheme. This is basically by central government employees only, okay? And sometimes some preventive health checkup related treatment may be incurred, or sometimes the medical treatment of senior citizens may be done. So if you incur any of these four expenditures, one is health insurance premium, second one is your CGHS, central government health scheme payment, third one is preventive health care, and fourth one is treatment, medical treatment of senior citizens. Any of these four expenditures you can claim as deduction under section 80D. This you should remember. Now, how the payment should be? The payment should be through account payee check, through demand draft, through any other electronic mode. It's okay. But you cannot make payment in cash. So, if you want to claim deduction under 80D, it should be through account pay check, demand draft, or electronic clearance system, or any other electronic mode. It cannot be in cash. Okay. But if it is preventive health checkup related payment, you can make the payment through account pay check, demand draft, electronic clearance system, electronic mode, and even through cash also. So that means any payment under 80D should be through account pay check or banking channel, but only preventive can be through cash also. This much you should remember. Now, suppose example, you are actually earning some taxable income. Out of that taxable income, you pay these premiums, then definitely you will get deduction under 80D, right? So, if you are paying premium out of your taxable income, you will get deduction. Suppose I am a farmer and I have all exempt incomes, right? And I want to claim deduction under 80D. Is it possible? Your income is exempt and you want to claim deduction. Not possible. So only from taxable income, if you paid the premium, you claim the deduction. Right? So clear to all of you? Right. Now let me recap for you. We are talking about 80D, and this is applicable to individual and HUF, irrespective of residential status, irrespective of citizenship. Okay? Irrespective of residential status, irrespective of citizenship. Clear? Second thing, देखो, for health insurance premium you will pay, for preventive health checkup you will pay, for CGHS payment you will pay, central government health scheme, or you may pay for medical treatment of seniors. But the payment should be through account payee check, demand draft, or electronic clearance system, or any other electronic mode. But if it is preventive health checkup, you can also pay in cash. For all others, cash is prohibited if you want to claim the deduction. Okay. Now, देखो, when you make the payment must be out of your taxable income. Payment must be out of your taxable income. Now, for whom you will pay? You will pay for your medical treatment, medical insurance premium, your children's medical insurance premium, your spouse medical insurance premium, your parents medical insurance premium. So suppose you are an individual, you can pay medical insurance premium for self, spouse, children only, right? Or second category, they said it may be for parents also, right? Parents must be dependent or independent, doesn't matter. Okay, this is how you should remember. Now, whole deduction concept is categorized into 4 parts. So category 1, category 2, 3, 4, like that. So one, let us discuss. One talks about only individual assessee, and he is paying medical insurance premium or preventive health check related payment for what purpose? For self, spouse, or children. So what is the amount of deduction? देखो, he is paying medical insurance premium or preventive health checkup for self, spouse, or children. How much is the deduction? Whatever premium paid, whatever amount paid, or rupees 25,000, whichever is lower, right? So when you claim deduction, they say whatever premium paid or rupees 25,000, whichever is lower is allowed as deduction. Clear to all of you? Very good. But suppose one of these people is a senior citizen. Suppose husband or wife is senior citizen. Then this 25,000 is increased to 50,000. That means your actual amount paid or rupees 50,000, whichever is lower. If one of them is senior citizen, right? If none of them is senior citizen, then amount paid or 25,000. So if one, none. Comparison clear? Very good. If any one of them is a senior citizen, then 25 will be replaced by 50. Right? First point is clear. So first point, what it says, hey, we are talking about individual. He is paying health insurance premium or preventive health checkup related payment, and that too for whom? For self, spouse, or children. Then how much deduction? The amount paid as premium or rupees 25,000, whichever is lower. But if any one of them is senior citizen, then obviously this 25 will be replaced by 50. That means the premium paid or rupees 50,000, whichever is lower. Okay. Now let's come to second point. The second point says, they are talking about individual only. Same. They go first spoke about self, spouse, children. Second will talk about the parents. So individual is paying for whom? For the parents, right? For health insurance premium or preventive health checkup, no problem. Okay, right. Now what they said, that here also amount paid or rupees 25,000, whichever is lower, right? But if any of the parents is senior citizen, the amount will be increased to 50,000 rupees. That means actual amount paid or 50,000, whichever is lower. Like that they try to explain. Now in case of Hindu undivided family is the third point. Third point talks about Hindu undivided family. And when we talk about Hindu undivided family, please remember, when we talk about Hindu undivided family, please remember that any member of the family is treated as family. So there is no restriction here, right? It should be only self, spouse, children, nothing like that. Even if it is brother, sister, uncle, chacha, all, if they are member of HUF, that's it. They are covered here. Okay. And you can take insurance premium or health insurance policy for any amount. But deduction, when it comes to, it will be actual premium paid or rupees 25,000, whichever is lower. And same concept, if there is a senior citizen in the HUF, then 25 will be replaced by 50. What I said, 25,000 will be replaced by 50,000 rupees. Okay. Come to the fourth point. Fourth point simply says that here we are not talking about HUF or we are not talking about individual. We are talking about both of them. Okay. And here we are not talking about premium for sure. Health insurance premium we are not at all talking about. We are talking about medical treatment expenditure. So in the category 4, it may be individual, it may be HUF, but the expenditure is purely medical expenditure, medical treatment expenditure, right? The expenditure is for medical treatment. Point is clear to you? Very good. Now let's go to the next point. medical treatment related expenditure it is. Now, how much treatment expenditure allowed? For whom it is allowed? It is allowed for senior citizens only. So it's allowed only for senior citizens. And how much deduction allowed? Actual amount paid or rupees 50,000, whichever is lower. Right? So what we spoke about, we are talking about category 4. It talks about individual or HUF. It talks about medical expenditure on the treatment of senior citizens. So deduction is actual amount paid or rupees 50,000, whichever is lower. We discussed these 4 categories and it's very easy to remember also. Right? In all the 4 categories, the numbers are same. Right? Actual amount or 25,000, whichever is lower. But once senior citizen comes, this 25,000 replaced by 50. That's it. Okay. We understood all this. But wherever we spoke about preventive health checkup. And I said that preventive health checkup can be made in cash. Right? You just go and check how much BP is there, how much sugar is there, right? Am I prone to heart attack, right? Or any other health problem? You just do preventive health checkup. So in that case, the maximum deduction for preventive health checkup is 5,000 rupees. So whether it is category 1 or category 2, together, right? That means self, spouse, children plus parents. Preventive health checkup cannot be more than 5,000. Now you pay through account pay check or cash doesn't matter for preventive health checkup. Only for preventive health checkup doesn't matter. Okay. But the amount cannot be more than 5,000. Now, whatever we discussed in A, B, C, D, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, is this 5,000 above that or within that limit? The answer is this preventive health checkup amount is within the limit. So suppose actual amount paid or 25,000 we said, preventive is included in this. Like that you should remember. So preventive you don't get anything extra. Okay. Now, how much deduction actually we can claim? The answer is, देखो, 1 plus 4 cannot be more than 50,000. So whether you pay premium or do treatment of senior citizen, all that together cannot be more than 50,000. Same is the case with 2 and 4. Same is the case with 3 and 4. 50,000 rupees is the maximum limit. Right? So now, let me tell you. For 1, there is a separate limit. For 2, there is a separate limit. Are you able to understand? For 1, there is a separate limit. For 2, there is a separate limit. Right? And how much deduction under 80D you will get? 1 plus 2 together you will get the deduction. Are you able to understand? Right? But 1 plus 4 cannot be more than 50. 2 plus 4 cannot be more than 50. This also you should keep in mind. Right? So this is how you should understand the concept of 80D. Now, I'll tell you what is dependent child. Dependent child is basically his resources are not sufficient to maintain himself. So for maintenance and support, he is dependent on the parent. That's why dependent child concept came. Okay. The next thing I'll tell you, we have to discuss about, sometimes you pay premium in lump sum. Sometimes you pay premium in lump sum for 5 years, 10 years. Then can you claim the deduction in installments? The answer is yes. If you pay the amount in lump sum also, still you can claim the deduction in installments. Now, when we talk about senior citizen, the person who pays the insurance premium should be senior citizen, or the person whose treatment is there, person on whose name the policy is there, should be senior citizen, right? Because if you are a senior citizen, higher deduction, right? Your deduction limit from 25 increases to 50. But who should be that senior citizen? The person who is going to take the policy, in whose name the insurance is, for whom the medical treatment is going to happen. That person should be senior citizen. So the criteria is not about payer. You forget about payer. You only focus on the patient or the person in whose name the premium is paid. Okay, clear to all of you? And senior citizen definition is 60 years or more age, he is a senior citizen. So when you go and solve the problem, see that divide the people into two categories, right? Hum do, hamare do, like that. And then parents. These are two categories, right? Category 1 gives for self, spouse, children, and category 2 gives for parents. So for both you will get the deduction, that you have to remember. Don't get confused. Okay? Right. Now shall we go to the second concept, and that is 80DD. Right? 80DD talks about disabled dependent relative. So he is dependent on you because he is disabled, and he is a relative. That's why you are taking care. If he is not a relative, you will not take care. Correct? Chal. So basically disabled dependent relative. Now whom this section applies? This section applies basically to any resident individual or resident HUF. So again repeat with me. This section applies to whom? Resident individual, resident HUF. This section applies to resident individual, resident HUF. Clear to all of you? Very good. Now shall we go to next story? Now this applies to resident individual, resident HUF is okay. But who is a disabled dependent relative? So let me first explain to you relative. For individual, relative means self, spouse, right? Children and parents. Obviously they should be dependent. Correct? Now who is dependent? Very easy. Dependent is for maintenance and support. He relies on the person. Then that's why we'll call them as dependent. Disabled means at least 40% disability should be there. Right? Basically, medical certificates are given for disability. So any government hospital nearby which actually issues these certificates, the person has to go, get the checkup done, get the certificate, and if the percentage given is less than 40, then you will not get the benefit here. Percentage is 40% or more, then only you are considered disabled. So disability means at least 40% disability. Dependence means wholly or mainly you are dependent on for maintenance and support. Relative means for individual it is self, spouse, dependent children, dependent parents, brothers and sisters also. For HUF, any member of the family is relative only. Correct? So we understood all these concepts. Now let's go forward. Now, देखो, suppose you take the example of let's take my example. When I was a kid, when I was small, my father was to claim the deduction under 80D. My father was to claim deduction under 80D. So I am a disabled person. My father was to claim the deduction. That means if there is a disabled relative, the person who is maintaining can claim the deduction. Now for maintenance, what happens? He incurs any expenditure. Maybe for treatment of that disability, maybe for nursing, right? Or maybe he will be paying some monthly or quarterly or yearly amount so that that amount accumulates and can be used for maintenance of the disabled person, right? Expenditure can be for treatment, expenditure can be for maintenance also. But the law says the deduction is nowhere connected with how much expenditure is incurred. So you are incurring expenditure for disabled dependent relative. It's okay. But deduction is irrespective of the amount of expenditure you incur. You have to remember this. And one more thing. Now, my father claimed the deduction under 80DD till I started earning. Once I started earning, I can claim the deduction under 80U, correct? A disabled person has the option to claim deduction under 80U. So if I claim under 80U, my father cannot claim deduction under 80DD. If my father claims under 80DD, then I should not claim deduction. Simple logic, no double deduction. And whether it is 80DD or 80U, both talk about disabled person only. But 80U gives deduction to disabled person himself, and 80DD talks about giving deduction to person who maintains the disabled dependent relative. Now, which type of disabilities may be there? Disability may be of many varieties. It can be complete blindness. It can be low vision. It can be autism. It can be cerebral palsy, right? It can be mental retardation. It can be mental illness, right? Any type of illness which is certified by the medical practitioner, that to government hospital, such disability is perfectly covered here. So what I said, cerebral palsy, autism, blindness, right? I spoke about low vision, hearing disability, right? Like this you have to remember. Now let's continue further. How much deduction you will get? The deduction depends upon the percentage of disability given in the certificate. If suppose in the certificate they say the disability percentage is between 40 to 79, 40 to 79, then it is a normal disability and 75,000 deduction is given. I did not say up to 75,000. I said exactly 75,000 you can claim deduction. Okay. But suppose the person's disability is 80% to 100%, 80 to 100, then definitely 1,25,000 deduction is given. Okay. 1,25,000 deduction is given. So let me recap for you. If disability percentage is less than 40, you will not get certificate also. Okay. So there is no point of thinking about this section. Okay. But if the percentage is between 40 to 79, then 75,000 deduction. If it is between 80 to 100, we call it as severe disability. We call it as what? Severe disability. 80 to 100% means severe disability. Then 1,25,000 deduction is given. How much deduction is given? 1,25,000 deduction is given. Okay. So this is how we should actually remember. Okay. So whenever you file the return, suppose my father files the return and he claims 80DD deduction. So he should also submit my medical certificate, the disabled dependent relative certificate, to the income tax department along with the return of income. This is what the law says. Now, is it currently required in today's times? The answer is no. But if suppose income tax department ask for it, inquire for it, then definitely my father has to submit the certificate in today's context. Okay. Now suppose if the disabled dependent, you contributed certain money in LIC's annuity schemes, right, for his maintenance. But the disabled person died before the person who is contributing. So the person contributing got the money, the disabled anyhow died. In that case, whatever amount received is fully taxable in the hands of the person receiving it. Is fully taxable in the hands of the person receiving it. So this is all about 80DD. Now from exam perspective, what you should remember? You should remember that this section is applicable to resident individual and resident HUF. Right? Dependent means wholly or mainly dependent for support and maintenance. Relative means for individual, it may be self, spouse, correct? Dependent children or dependent brother and sister, parents also dependent. Second thing they said, for HUF, any member of the family, right? Disability means at least 40% disability. Now the person who is maintaining should incur expenditure for treatment or nursing or we can say for maintenance, or should contribute some money in LIC fund or any other fund for maintenance of the disabled relative. After that they said that okay, irrespective of the contribution, the deduction is allowed. But if deduction under 80DD is claimed by the person maintaining, then the disabled person cannot claim deduction under 80U. But if disabled person is claiming deduction under 80U, then the person who is maintaining cannot claim deduction under 80DD. If the percentage of disability is 40 to 79, 75,000 deduction can be claimed. If it is between 80 to 100, 1,25,000 deduction can be claimed. And finally to say, if any contribution is made for maintenance in the LIC policies or annuity policies and the disabled person dies before it, the amount received on the policy, whoever receives it will be fully taxable to the person. If suppose disabled receives it, it is exempt. But if any other person receives it because the disabled died, so it is fully taxable to them. Now let's come to 80DDB. Deduction in relation to medical treatment in case of specified diseases. Right? We have to discuss about specified diseases. Now, when we talk about specified diseases, they are mentioned under Rule 11DD. It can be neurological problem, oncological problem, it can be urological problem, right? It can be any specified disease which is to be treated by a specialist, right? Here we are not talking about premium, insurance premium we are not talking about. Insurance premium is done, discussion in 80D, right? Here we are core focus is on medical treatment for specified disease. Okay, good. Now you understood medical treatment of specified disease. Now for whom this treatment can be incurred? Obviously, if it is individual, for himself, for his spouse, or for his parents, or children, or brothers and sisters, or if it is HUF, for any member of the family. But the point is, the person for whom you are incurring medical treatment, the person should be dependent on you. Right? Dependency is very important. Right? Then what they said? Relative meaning we understood. Dependent we understand. Specified disease we understood. Correct? Now how much deduction we can get? Deduction is whatever expenditure incurred or rupees 40,000, whichever is lower. So amount of expenditure incurred or rupees 40,000, whichever is lower. What I said? Amount of expenditure incurred or rupees 40,000, whichever is lower. Amount of expenditure incurred or rupees 40,000, whichever is lower. But suppose the person whose treatment is going to happen is a senior citizen, then this 40,000 will be replaced by 1 lakh rupees. If the person for whom the medical treatment is happening, I'm not talking about payer, I'm talking about the person whose treatment is going on, right? In that case, the amount will be 1 lakh if it is a senior citizen. Okay. So generally, whether whatever amount paid or rupees 40,000, whichever is lower. But if the person whose treatment is going on is senior citizen, then amount paid or rupees 1 lakh, whichever is lower. This you should understand. Now, payer need not be senior citizen. The person whose treatment is going on need to be a senior citizen. Right? Obviously, proper medical prescription is required here. Dekho, please consider. In 80DD, because it is disability, right, we asked for a medical certificate from government hospital. But in 80DDB, it is treating specified disease. So we are asking for medical prescription from the doctor. Correct? Now, once all this is done, let us talk about last point, and that is, suppose we got health insurance premium amount, right? Health insurance we did. So the insurance company compensated us. Or maybe we are working in a company, the employer is so kind, he said, you take this money for the medical treatment. So we got reimbursement from employer, or we got the reimbursement from insurance company. In that case, your deduction will be reduced by the reimbursement. Your deduction will be reduced by reimbursement. Suppose example, the treatment is for a senior citizen. Then what happened? You incurred 3 lakhs rupees. So what will happen? Your actual amount or rupees 1 lakh, whichever is lower. So 3 lakhs actual amount, 1 lakh standard limit for senior citizen, whichever is lower. So you got 1 lakh deduction under 80DDB. Now, please remember, who will get deduction? The payer will get deduction, right? Deduction will be claimed by the payer. But to check the eligible amount, the person whose treatment is going on, is he a senior citizen or not, should be checked. Okay, done? Clear to this point? Right. Now we got 1 lakh deduction, but we claimed health insurance and we got 70,000 rupees. So the deduction of 1 lakh minus 70,000, only 30,000 you can claim as deduction under section 80DDB. So it's not 3 lakhs minus 70, right? It's not actual expenditure minus you received from insurance company. No, it is actually actual expenditure or standard limit, whichever is lower. And from that lower amount, you will deduct the insurance premium, insurance amount claimed, or amount claimed from employer. So this is how you are actually supposed to remember each and every topic. Anyhow, we understood all the provisions. We'll practice at that time also. We'll recap during the solutions. Okay, as we do regularly. Any doubts are there, always keep in touch. I'll be very happy to answer your question. Okay, chalo then, take care. Bye everybody.